Hey everybody, welcome back to the In the Garage Sunday special. Even though I'm not in the garage, I'm outside. And if you guys remember, last episode we rebuilt this Holley 2210 carburetor. I actually rebuilt this back in out in California. And now we're in Iowa and ready to do the install video. So here we have our 1975 Scout 2. Like I said, I took this on a trip to Wyoming. Got like 5 to 7 miles per gallon. It runs incredibly rich. Something's jacked up with it, so we're just gonna change it and then I'll rebuild that one and have it as a spare. So thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully this is a good video that's worth your time watching, and hopefully you're having a good Sunday. All right, so first thing we're gonna do, and I'm just gonna try to leave the camera kind of at this overhead angle so you can actually see what's going on. We will take the air cleaner off. When I installed this carburetor actually on this engine, I really tried hard to get it back to stock. And I'm sorry, you guys, like I'm at the shop and there's people mowing lawns and people starting trucks, and so if there's a little bit of noise, forgive me. And also just a quick note, the inspiration for this video project was a new creative endeavor for me that I wanted to self-film, self-edit some videos, and so they're definitely not as great quality, but I just figure, hey, give it a shot. It's easier on the team, and it's kind of fun. It's a new skill. So okay, so just kind of start off. Maybe you even want to take a picture of what's here. We're going to retain a lot of this stuff, so it should be pretty straightforward. So let's keep after it. Remember in the rebuild video I talked about always make sure that you put a wrench on this key, on the kind of core fitting. Because I love these factory bent hard lines, and I want to retain them, and you don't want to strip anything, and so just kind of pay attention, man. Same with the rebuild process. Just pay attention, try to stay organized. I think I'm just gonna leave this kind of right over here. Hope you have a good enough angle. Pay attention to stuff like this. This is a little bit loose, so I'm gonna have to kind of watch that because I put this carburetor on here not too long ago. This truck, I'll tell you a little story about this truck while I'm working. Throttle return spring, factory bracket. I bought this truck out in the desert of California. Really stoked on it. I love the color. I just fell in love with it. I wasn't planning on keeping it, but I fell in love with it, and I'm going to save this because I don't have one. This is the Air Cleaner Gasket. But yeah, so I got it running out in California, but it didn't run for long. And then when I got it back to Iowa and I put coolant in it, and I noticed that the coolant poured out of the motor faster than I can pour it in. And it had lost a couple freeze plugs. Now what's interesting about the freeze plug story is that it's from California, man, in the desert. It doesn't freeze there. So it looks like actually someone had popped the freeze plugs out, and this truck had all kinds of weird fittings, and I'll try to find a picture and put it in here, but like weird brass fittings and copper pipe. Like, I don't know what he was doing, if he was trying to build a hot water shower or something with the cooling. It was really weird. I've never really seen anything like it. So anyway, I just got that, freaked me out, and it was kind of like, it looked as if the motor had overheated, just the way the exhaust manifolds looked and stuff. And so I didn't trust it. I had this good 304. It had a 345, and I probably should have put a 345 back in it, but I like 304s. So this had the 304 in it, and I thought, you know, I'm gonna just take this engine. It's a rebuilt engine. I typically don't love rebuilt engines. I prefer a good factory built used one. But anyway, so I took it, and then I pillaged parts from around here at the shop and put it back to as factory as possible, from like heater hose tie downs to the way the heater hoses are routed, the way the spark plugs are routed, all these carburetor parts. The choke was a big mish to find the correct choke tower and all that kind of stuff. And it's largely correct, and it runs well except for this carburetor. So that's the story of this truck, and I'll do a lot more videos on this truck as I kind of get it put together. The tools needed for this job are actually pretty straightforward. Right now you can't see maybe from that angle, but I'm just taking the carburetor, so the carburetor that I rebuilt was off a manual transmission. This one is an automatic. So I may have to swap over a couple extra parts. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pulling out the kick down linkage and the carb kind of stud, the throttle cable stud. Being careful, I'm just gonna put it right back in here so I don't lose anything. And the kick down is actually it's adjusted really well, so I don't want to mess with that. Okay, I think we're ready, man. We got one vacuum hose here for the vacuum advance. It's our thermo choke. If you remember, I was missing a couple of screws, so I'm actually going to steal a screw or two. I'm going to take a shiny one. So that'll be cool. And also, you guys, please, like, without flaming me, give me feedback on the video. Like, what do you guys want to see? I plan on like really trying my best to do like a Sunday video, a video once a week every Sunday. I'll just wait on that. The last one we did was like 42 minutes. Do you want them shorter? So, I mean, some will be shorter, but I plan on, like, you know, maybe we go on a little adventure, a road trip, or I'll try to do like these kind of projects I like doing, because it's good. These things this might sound selfish, but hopefully they're fun for you, but they're also like productive for me, because it gives me a reason to fix my truck. So for example, the doors need to be rebuilt on this thing. Pretty bad, meaning the door latches, the window regulators, and also editing tips, like without being like Mr. Professional Editor, because I'm doing it all on my iPhone. So that's another. I mean, do you like the footage kind of just to keep running? Do you want me to keep it shorter? Should I be telling stories? I don't know. Fills the time for me. Some of this too, you guys, is just like, someday I'm gonna be dead and gone. My grandkids or great grandkids are gonna be like, hey, who was my grandfather? Who, whatever. And it's kind of, I don't know, it's cool. Just, I encourage you guys to be making videos of your scout adventures too. Pictures, videos, Instagram stories, whatever floats your boat. I'm actually going to retain this. And to be honest, I don't remember. I can't really remember exactly what this carburetor's off of. I know I wouldn't have put a 345 carb on, although it's possible. I don't think this was the carburetor that was on this engine. A lot of times, like rebuilt engines will have like a Ford Motorcraft or a newer Holley 350 or 500 CFM. These carbs I think are 350 CFM. Maybe it was, I can't remember. Dude, voila. Why the heck was this thing leaking so much gas, dude? It's crazy. Like, not leaking, but just using so much fuel. Blow your mind. Like, I drove today like 8 miles and I burned like 1/8 of a tank. Okay, so I went back through the carburetor because it's been sitting now for about a week, and I re-torqued all these screws, top and bottom, and they were all like hand tight. So even though I tightened them, because the gaskets just broke in, we're gonna take our new gasket. Remember, this factory style gasket with this heat shield, and man, if they made a thicker one, I would use it, because in Wyoming, this vehicle struggled with some heat soak. And before I anchor the carburetor down, I'm gonna get this started, because sometimes this is tricky when you have a hard line. Okay, so I got that started, and now I'm gonna put my bolts in. Excellent. Okay, I also, just real quick, have to take this old manual transmission carb stud off, because they are different. Because the manual does not have any of the kickdown linkage. Dude, it's sweet going from a factory to factory carburetor. Or if you just took your carb off and put it back on. I'm telling you, bros, this is like worth, I think the carb rebuild kit's like 40 bucks or something. It's worth it. You could do this all in an afternoon, and it could net you a pretty significant increase in fuel economy. I'm praying that that is the case, because it is disheartening how bad this thing was, how bad the gas mileage was. And it just wouldn't idle. It just had very poor idle quality. I prefer a 1/4 inch drive ratchet and socket when I do this. I just find it more appropriate. Trying to make this video a little shorter than the last one, so your wife or girlfriend doesn't get mad at you for watching too many videos on a weekend. Plus, you get the satisfaction of seeing your handiwork pay off. Okay, so I'm going to tighten the fuel line now. Remember, 2 wrenches always. I'm going to check that one for snug. Okay, now I'm going to go the opposite way with this 9/16. Snug that. Okay. Vacuum advance, done. This is our fuel line. No, this is actually our vent, sorry. Goes to our vacuum canister, our charcoal canister. Gasket. Dude, we are getting ready to go. Sorry, there comes a tractor. Gotta mow the lawn, man. Also, in this video series, I'll have my son Owen. He's a big part of my scout life. My daughters, my oldest son, I'd love it. He's more into other things. He digs the scouts, you know. But yeah, Owen has been wanting to learn. So he was supposed to do that carb rebuild with me, but he got a job. So he's been working. But man, include your kids as much as possible. Some of you guys probably already do a great job at that. Again, I should not have to readjust my kickdown linkage. If you were doing like a 4-barrel swap or something, or putting a different type of carburetor, it's likely you would have had to make changes, but we're going apples to apples, which I love. I love all factory parts. Carburetor return spring, factory, love it. Factory bracket. And a lot of, like, what's interesting is a lot of the parts are unique to 304 and 345, so don't just kind of randomly put parts on. Especially on this kickdown linkage, there's 304 and 345 specific parts. Okay, man, I think we're done. I'm excited and nervous. All right, so here we go, man. First start with the new, refreshed. By the way, check out this new Legend shirt. Brand new, dropping on the new Legend 4x4 site pretty soon. So I'm just gonna pump it. I gotta crank it for a little bit. It's normal, it's normal. Oh man, come on baby. It's running. Now, one thing I'm not sure about is how fouled my spark plugs are. This one running really rich for a lot of miles. But it's not running right either now. Something's not right. It's smooth under. This won't idle. I'm gonna go try to mess with it a little bit, try to start the tuning process and pray that I didn't do something wrong on the rebuild. It's totally possible. I might be rebuilding the other one I took off. I'm gonna check something, because it could be the float stuck from shipping it at UPS and being dry, so I'm gonna go try a little technique. Okay, so first I'm gonna check for leaks. I'm actually gonna just check, sorry for the weed whacker in the background, I picked the worst time to do this, but I don't have a lot of time on my hands. Normally I try to do this stuff like on a Sunday, so it's just more mellow, but this is a Friday at the shop. But what I was going to say is the technique is just, sometimes when you have like that issue, you just tap on it. Don't tap on it with a hammer, just use a screwdriver handle, and we'll tap on it right there. Let's see what happens. Okay, so definitely not, I'm not saying this is the grand old fix, but I'm going to make some basic adjustments. I'm going to back off. This is the fast idle, like for the choke. So I just want that off of there. And I'm going to actually increase that just for a second. I'm going to crack these lean rich idle screws. Roll those out just another half turn. Couple desperation taps. All right, let's go give it a shot again. So, kind of bummer news, but I wanted to, I debated for a second, to be honest, like, do I just fix this thing off camera and say, magic, it worked, or be honest about the process? And yeah, I think just, so basically it went from running super rich to super lean. So there's something wrong, I'll show you. There's something wrong with the idle circuit. So it runs fine under accelerator pump or cruising, but without the choke. If you put the choke on, then it runs. That means it's just, there's something clogged inside the carburetor. So my preaching about cleaning the carb, I obviously didn't do a good enough job. So I'm gonna pull the carburetor back off. I'm gonna show you guys a picture right here of where I think I went wrong. There's an idle jet and an idle air circuit. I think the idle jet is clogged still. So I'm gonna pull it off, try to get a pipe cleaner, like a small gauge wire, and clean it out. So I'll pull the car back off camera, and then I'll meet you back on the bench. Okay, so got the carburetor pulled off, and now I wanted to, because we're gonna do two things. We're gonna check those idle circuits, like I showed you in that picture, but also I'm gonna check the float level. So I have not emptied any gas out of this. And the float level looks good. Okay. All right, I'm gonna pull the camera down and show you these jets, and we'll show what we were illustrating in that picture. Okay. So what we were seeing is this circuit right here and right here. Sorry, it's weird to look through the camera. This is the idle air circuit, and these are the idle jets. And you know what, man? I don't remember cleaning those out, so I'm hoping that those are clogged. And we're gonna blow through those. And first I'm gonna get a little piece of wire and run it down through there. So let's check that out. So we're going to, I took this little cotter pin, sharpened it. Whoa, sorry for the shaking. And I don't know if that's gonna, I mean, it definitely gets in there a little bit. That's just the air circuit right there. That one's pretty clean. I mean, it's a lot bigger. Back to our trusty brake clean. I'm also going to check these. And the bummer is, guys, like, I don't know how to check this other than just put it back on and try it again. That's spraying through those rods. Doesn't look like there was any internal leaks. Okay. Well, I don't know what else to do. I'm gonna actually, it was squirting out of here, so I'm gonna try to. So that's a good sign. That's coming out of the main jet. That's coming out of the main jet. Well, I maybe should have tested it before I cleaned it, but the only other thing, let me get a cup to pour this gas out. Got everything cleaned out the best I can. I don't really know what to do if it's giving me problems. If this doesn't work, then what I'm gonna do is pull the other carburetor apart, put them like side by side, check jets, check everything. Maybe I'll put some parts from this one into that one, so one's rich, one's lean. But we'll see. I got this, like I said, I should have, like I said in the rebuild video, rebuilding a carburetor is really just about cleaning stuff, honestly. And overall, it was like pretty good, you know. It's like that pretty good. Don't cut it, I guess. Definitely did a little more thorough job this time of cleaning out ports, and some of it was I only had one can of brake clean when I rebuilt the carburetor, and so I was being a little stingy. That obviously was a mistake. Anyway, I'm gonna slap this back together, then we'll go put it back on the truck, and I'll meet you back in the driver's seat, and we'll try to fire it up. Carb is back on. And I'm crossing my fingers, man. I'm hoping, I don't necessarily believe in crossing your fingers, but anyway, figure of speech. So let's fire it up. I filled the bowl back up with the fuel that I poured out of it. Oh yeah. Dude, it's running. So man, the big, huge takeaways, like I said in the earlier video, clean, clean, clean. And what I failed to do, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go online and I'm going to look for a carburetor cleaning wire kit. There's different gauges of wire, so you can actually physically clean out those passages. Now, and I'll go fine tune this, that's all good. But thanks for joining us. I'm stoked. I'm going to go take it for a test drive. And we'll see you next time on the Sunday Garage. Again, if you like this video, like, subscribe. We're really trying to keep the channel going. We have some actually fun ideas that are going to be coming out soon on an alternative channel, but as always, thanks for spending your Sunday or Monday or Tuesday or whatever day with us, and I hope this tells you that you can do it, man. If you gotta call a friend, look up a YouTube video. This stuff is, that's what I love about this old tech, man. It's just something really special about it. So, and we can keep them running. See you next time. And I know I already closed out the video, but I just gotta say how stoked I am, man. This thing's never run. I love this truck. It's like my favorite Scout that I have, and I got a few. And I was really frustrated because driving it on the Wyoming trip, we went like 1,600 miles or more. 2,000 miles, and I dealt with like this loading up rich carburetor the whole time. It was really frustrating. And I got back and I would like love to drive it, but I hated driving it because it would just like be so smoky, black smoke, and just running like garbage. So to hear it run this smooth is the dream, man. No hesitation. Just sweet. So it was worth. I'm so glad I took it back off and went through it again. Anyway, thanks.